Hello and welcome. Today I'm gonna introducing you to the new Alarm Ultimate node for Node-RED. Let's take a look at what is. Go into Manage Palette and search for Alarm Ultimate. Once found, install it and you're done. From here, search for Alarm node and you will see the nodes belonging to the alarm. Drag alarm system into your flow, and this is basically your alarm node, your main alarm node. If you double click on it, you will see the property pane. We have the web page. Let's see this later. The name, the control topic to take control of the alarm system, for example, arm and disarm. Then we have the persist state. So the states of the zones will persist on every restart of Node-RED. We have require code for arm, require code for disarm, and the code. For instance, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the code. Block arm on violations. So if one zone is open, it blocks the arm. Exit delay, standard exit delay, entry delay. Before the zone will trigger if the zone is set to entry or exit. We have the siren, the topic of the siren. Siren duration, in this case 3 minutes. Latch siren until disarm option, and the payload for the siren on and siren off. Emit restore events. In case of the restoring events, we'll emit restore events. Then we have some other properties that belonging to the node, but we will see these options later because the node is still in beta and these properties can change during releases. Let's take a look at the other nodes. We have alarm state that states the state of the alarm. You can select the alarm, in this case banana, and the topic that will emit. We have zone alarm. This basically outputs the states of the zone, violated or not. And we have the alarm siren. This node can be connected to, for example, a siren or something like this. Then again, we have the input adapter. The input adapter is a very important node because it converts the input coming from, for example, a KNX sensor or alarm sensor or Shelly sensor. Every sensor you can have in your home can be part of the alarm system. We have some bunch of presets, for example, IX Pro. In this case, the node will convert Hikvision IX Pro zones. Hikvision IX Pro is an alarm system from Hikvision to the output connected to the alarm. Or, for example, instead of IX Pro, we have Home Assistant. You can use also Home Assistant as zones. Or KNX Ultimate. You can connect the KNX sensor to this alarm through a KNX Ultimate node for Node-RED. I am the developer of KNX Ultimate as well. I am the developer of IX Pro as well. or pass-through, simple pass-through the message, or boolean from payload. It takes the payload as a sensor for alarm, and other than built-in, we can define your own. You can define your own adapter, so you can write JavaScript code here. Message topic, for example, hello, and so on. Okay, now let's take a look at the web page connected to the alarm node. The first thing to do is to define the zones. Let's see how it works. Drag an alarm system in your node. Name this, for example, alarm away. We disable the code, okay, disarm code, okay, for simplicity. We will see that this node adds several outputs, siren, alarm triggered, alarm disarm update, zone activity, and so on. We see these output pins later. Double click on the node. Let's set the zones. Click here on this button. And we have now the page where we can handle the zones. You can manually add a zone by clicking here. We set the topic. Topic will be used from the node to determine the zone. For example, in this case, we can set sensor mind door, match the topic. Every topic having this sensor mind door text will be accepted as a zone. Although we can choose also regex. For example, we can use this one. So every topic having sensor will be matched to this zone. The zone name, entry, door, mine, and the kind of the zone, for example, entry. Okay, the zone is already saved with the auto saved on the zone, so we can switch here, and we'll see one zone configured here. Instead of manually add a zone, we can also import zones from other softwares. Okay, let's see the zone coming from KNX Ultimate, the KNX node for Node-RED. Click Import Zone, and a wizard will appear below. We can choose, for example, to load some samples. We have Home Assistant sample, we have ETS KNX sample, we have JSON message sample, and so on. In this case of JSON, we can also map the topic and the value based on this object. And we can then parse and generate the zones based on the sample. For example, we have generated this dining table lamp. Let's delete all and make an import with actual ATS export from KNX Word. I have saved my ATS group address export here in a text node, and I will paste the ATS formatted text here. Once done, I simply click pairs, detect, and on the step 2 I can choose what zones and which zones to import. For example, I have all my zones set in this ATS address filter. So 2, 7, and 10 I have all the zones. I filter by zones, ATS filter by zones, and click generate zones, and automatically the wizard will set all my zones with the correct topic and correct name and the kind of the zone. Done. When returning, we have here the indication that 37 zones are being configured. Now let's see the control panel. Open the node and click Panel. A new window will open, and as you can see, there is a node, our alarm away node, the status, a keypad, and all the zones and status of the zones. We can arm the system. Arming is starting on. Arming sequence. It's 30 seconds, so yes, 30 seconds. Okay, arming time elapsed and arm it away. We can disarm by clicking here, and the alarm node is disarmed. We can also filter the zones for only open zones or all zones. You can select both alarm type if you have more than one alarm node and arm together at once. Now let's see an example on how to inject zones values into the node. Let's take a look. In this example, we'll use a KNX system that represents all zones in our home. Now let's drag an input adapter into the flow and link all together. Double-click on the input adapter to set the properties as follows. We must select KNX Ultimate. We are done. Deploy, confirm, and now KNX Ultimate is injecting zones values like perimeter zones, peer zones, and thermal camera zones and so on in our alarm system. The zones starting to flow. You see all the open zones coming from the KNX bus for both or for single. I have separated the alarm away and garden thermal cameras in two different nodes. Doing this, you can manage so many nodes as you want. For example, a node can manage alarm away, another node can manage night alarm, another node again can manage thermal camera garden alarm. So in this manner you have a bunch of nodes handling different zones or different modes of your alarm node. Let's take a look at another example of handling thermal camera coming from an Hikvision AX Pro alarm system. Let's take a look. Let's search for Hikvision node. Hikvision node. Take the AX Pro node here. Connect to the server and name it as is. Leave all as is. Pick up another adapter from alarm system. Link it to the AX Pro. And select built-in and AX Pro Hikvision Ultimate. So the alarm away is filled by zones coming from the KNX security system and from the AX Pro security system. Let's pick up only the thermal camera zones. Let's make another duplicate of alarm away and name it thermal AX Pro camera zones. And by managing the zones, we take only the thermal cameras. So that is perimeter. Delete all other. So we have a subset of perimeter alarm system. Now let's drive back and route the AX Pro thermal zones only to the thermal AX Pro zones alarm. Go into Away Alarm, manage the zones, and remove all perimeters. OK. Done, and deploy. Let's rename this in Away internal peer alarm. And this in thermal perimeter alarm. This one is only for thermal interior peer, and this one is only for perimeter alarm. Now let's take a look on how to arm or disarm the two zones. In this case, we will set the thermal perimeter to arm also the internal perimeter, but not vice versa. Let's see. Double-click on thermal perimeter. In this section, sync other alarm, you can interlock all alarm nodes. So when this alarm is armed or disarmed, optionally disarm other alarm nodes in the workspace. In this case, we have internal peer alarm, and we wish to arm also this zone. On disarm, we wish to also disarm the peer internal alarm. Done? OK. Let's dive into thermal perimeter alarm and set here as well. When this alarm is armed or disarmed, what to do with internal perimeter alarm. So when armed, leave as is, because someone can remain in the interior of the home while the perimeter is armed. On disarm, leave as is also the internal peer alarm. So don't touch the internal perimeter alarm. Done, and deploy. Now let's see how to arm this security system. Pick up a simple inject node and put it here and call it arm. As well as another one, disarm, and the command disarm. As you can see, we have a message command, but for now we leave all as is. I will explain that later. Link all to the internal peer alarm, set deploy. Now let's try to arm the internal peer alarm. Click arm, and both the internal and the perimeter thermal camera are armed. Let's see that also in the panel. Select both, thermal perimeter armed and internal peer armed. We can disarm, and both are now disarmed. Now let's do the same things for the thermal perimeter alarm, but instead of use two nodes to arm and disarm, we will arm directly. So go into panel, select perimeter, it's already selected, and click arm. We will see that only the thermal perimeter alarm is armed. but not the internal one. Let's disarm. And the internal peer and the perimeter are both disarmed. Now let's take a quick look at the other nodes. We have the alarm state that indicates the state of the alarm, the alarm zone that indicates if a specific zone is open or closed, and the alarm siren that emit an alarm message. You can select which node to handle, in this case this one, and so on. Turn up here and select this one, SPAR. Okay. This one is belonging to this. So basically you can do what you want, and you can, if you won't use these nodes, you can use directly this pin out, this emit all events, and so on. Alarm triggered, alarm disarm update, zone activity, errors, denied alarm, any zone open, open zone that cycle to the open zone. For example, if you have a display, a Shelly display or KNX display, you can see one by one all the open zones. Okay, I think is all for now. This node is still in beta, so I develop this node yet, and the day that are coming. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel to see other things of alarm node, and also other my nodes like KNX Ultimate and so on. Bye bye and thank you for watching.
Max Supervibe, nel silenzio della rete nasce un'idea invisibile e concreta, codice luci in sintonia perfetta.